Okay, so good morning, good morning, good morning. This is actually, I'm really excited about today. My name is Pam Peebles. I'm sorry, I get so excited I can't even introduce myself. My co-host today is Francis Rodriguez, and I'm going to tell you guys, I'm super excited about today because we're just going to have some real conversation. No, I mean, you're welcome to jump in and ask questions all you want. But today is kind of special because we're talking about what's happening in the crypto market, what's happening, if it's crashing, should you run far away from it, or if you have the right information like us, you'd be running towards it. So this is just going to be an open conversation. For any of you ladies who are on with us, good morning and welcome. And feel free to ask questions and jump in, but we're just going to jump in because some really powerful things have been happening over the last couple of days, and my inbox has been blown up, ironically, with people asking questions who don't want to go get education, but want to ask questions about what they should do, ironically. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So good morning, Francis.
Good morning. Yes, Pam, that part, like, I get it. And, I've been that person who didn't know any better, but I've also been that person that knows, even if I don't pay attention to a person or to, the hype, pay attention to just what's happening in the world. And that's kind of always been my cue of what to do. So I'm Francis, for those of you that are listening to this, or maybe you're on replay and don't know who I am. I actually come from financial services the last 15 years. And, the craziest thing is, even though I was in financial services for so long, there's still things about money that financial institutions don't want you to know because they don't function off of transparency, right? Like, we could just look at facts. And, coming into the crypto world, it's just kind of been good and bad. And I only say bad because now I have like these heated debates, which I don't really debate it. I believe what I believe off of what I see. And then, other people kind of just, that I used to work with or are still investment bankers. And I get it. It's what you've been programmed to do. Managing other people's money is how you make your money. So I don't ever have a conversation with them from a perspective of like, oh, what we do here is better than that. But it's just really more like, no, dude, like, if you really look at the facts of what's happening, you can see what's happening. But the crazier thing is, most people don't know how to even start to look at what's happening. And so I just think about like little things. You guys can go look up this article, but Goldman Sachs, there was an article that was leaked by them, one of the largest financial institutions playing around in these markets right now. And, they're projecting Ethereum at over 20,000. So when we look at things like that, I just tell people, you don't have to believe anything I say. You don't have to believe anything Pam says or anybody else on here, because this is really informal. Like, oh, I just got back from the gym. I look like it, right? But this is just informal to kind of let you share what you do know. That there's value in you if you do know anything about this world. But then two, to just give you a go-to, like, pay attention. The biggest thing I like to tell people from my background, even now, into this crypto stuff and what's really happening, is just pay attention to where the greed is at. And I know that sounds kind of like, why would I want to do that? Well, because where the greed is at is where the bigger financial institutions are making moves. And that's where you got to go make moves too. But the better thing is, you have timing that they don't have. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But I just want you guys to just get accustomed to being around these conversations so that you don't have to go off of what someone says who has a couple $100 in Bitcoin and is panicking over what we knew was going to happen in the market. And the bigger truth is, the bigger banks are participating. So this is not going anywhere, as much as they want to scare you. I saw this crazy thing, side note, and I'll hand it back to you, Pam, on Instagram yesterday. And I'm a big believer, like, you believe what you want to believe. That's totally okay. You back up what you believe with whatever that is. But, a couple people like prophets, and I'll say that lightly because, beware of false prophets. But I saw a couple of people, talking about everyone needs to be pulling out of crypto because we're moving to a one world currency and a whole bunch of crazy stuff. that at the end of the sentence, one of the ladies said, you know, the US is moving into a digital dollar. So understand that all the crypto is going to crash and burn. And I wish I would have taken a screenshot because I don't follow her, but I follow someone who she follows. And I was just like, wait, if you really read the last sentence, the US is moving into a digital dollar. So what makes you think that crypto is not a valid space? So it was just crazy to me. So guys, just be really careful. Don't believe what I say. Don't believe what Pam says. Like, just take this as a tool if you're interested in really diving into this conversation, and go find the right information. So a little bit about me, but I was just floored. Like, what? That doesn't even make sense. You really read it.
That's really interesting that you brought that up, because speaking on that, I actually received an email the other day, maybe I think it was on Friday, from LinkedIn, wanting to know if I would contribute to a post they had made about the US, United States coming up with their own crypto coin. And remember, these are the same people who are telling us that crypto is not real, that crypto is trying to rip you off, that it's a scam, it's a pyramid scheme, which I don't know how it's a pyramid scheme, but I've read that. And they've said everything but positive things. However, they're coming up with their own coin. So it's very, very interesting. And I'll have to find that article and share it, but they wanted to know if I would contribute. And it was laughable to me, because I know that the government, well, anyone who lives in the United States, because I realize that people will be watching this from all over the world, that if you're watching outside of the United States, then you know that the US government is not necessarily the most credible here, and that they'll say one thing and do something else, you know, kind of like that ex that you had, and they say, oh,
right.
and then you get all ready and you're like, no, I'm at McDonald's, we're going to McDonald's, and you get all dressed up. That's what the US government is to me. It's part of the reason why I moved out of the United States for so many years, and recently just came back due to some health issues with my husband. But if it wasn't for my husband and his health issues and us needing to come here for treatment, I would have never moved back to the United States. So many things that I saw while I was outside of it, as far as how the government runs and some of the propaganda that you see on the news here in the United States, it's really not real. Because if you travel to other countries and you bring something up, they'll be like, what in the world are you talking about? So there was an interesting video, and this is way off subject, but it was an interesting video that came out, I think it was in 2019 or 2020, and it was showing different reporters from different parts of the United States, and they all had the same identical script. And it was something where they were warning and scaring people, but it was word for word. And they played one person doing the video, reading the script, and then they played maybe about 200 different people reading the same exact script, which means that the information that's being shared in the United States has its own propaganda. It's there to put fear into you. And that's what's been happening the last couple of weeks with cryptocurrency, ironically. Elon Musk, which I think this is all a big game to him, but nonetheless, he talked all bad about Bitcoin, but meanwhile, he's swiping it up. So when this stuff goes down, everyone's buying it up. And I'm going to share something, and let me give this disclaimer before I share this, because we're not financial advisors. I'm not giving you any type of financial advice. I will say that I belong to an academy where I get outstanding education and information. And one of my 8-figure mentors posted something the other day, and I'm sure for those of you guys who are a part of this academy, you got the same information. Was like, you need to own this many Bitcoin, you need to own this many Ethereum, and you need to own this many Litecoin. And as I was reading it, I went and looked at the price, and he mentioned, if it got to this price, you need to buy it. And I said, well, I won't tell you what I said. It was really bad. And I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I told my husband, who was like, we're only taking out this much out the account. And I was like, babe, listen, this is about to go down. And he listened to me, and for a second, then I showed him the thing, and my husband was like, all right, do it, pull the trigger. We pulled the trigger, and we put a little bit more money in. Again, financial disclaimer, I'm not giving you advice. even though you might want to take some of the advice we're giving, but I'm not giving it to you. And the next day I woke up and we were up, I think $6,500. By the end of, this was all over the weekend. By the end of the day, we were up over $11,000. Now, let me tell you why this is significant. Is because these are the same bad currencies that people are telling you to dump. This is during the time everyone was saying, dump these, don't buy these. And one of them was Ethereum, which Ethereum went down. It was over 4,000 and some dollars. It went down to $1,800. And by the end of the day, it was up to $2,700, somewhere around there. And it's still up at $2,600. Had someone just bought into Ethereum at that time and just bought one, not a lot, but one, you would have made $800 overnight. To be able to have someone, because here's what normally happens, and I'm running my mouth now, but this is just some real talk. I have been part of some other companies. I've done some other things in my life, but usually it's not a team sport. It's an individual. I'm gonna climb to the top and I'm gonna use your back, your back, your back. I'm gonna step on your head if I need to, but I'm gonna get where I'm going. If you don't get there, that's on you. But I'm gonna get there. What I love about what we do is that it's no competition. We all win. You know, this particular mentor didn't have to throw that out. Him and his wife could have just prospered like they've been doing and go about their business and say, we got more in our bank account, but that's not who they are. That's not what they do. And we get messages not only from him, but from other 7 and 8 figure traders and investors, almost on not a daily basis, several times a day. And so this is a team sport. And if you don't have a team with you making money, if you can't contact somebody, if I can't contact Frances and go, Frances, how do I do this? Or how can I make money doing that? And either she knows or she points me in the right direction. That means that she cares about me. You don't care about somebody when you're trying to keep them down, when you're trying to hold their head underwater while they're trying to learn how to swim. That's not loving somebody. That's not appreciating somebody. We don't have that. So I said all that to say, not to brag on the fact that I made enough to buy a used car, but hey, but to say that anybody can do this. Anybody can accomplish what we did. You can't live under fear. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust your judgment. And most importantly, you have to trust the people that are around you and find out what their motive is. And there's none. I can tell you what my motive is for doing this event right here is to educate and empower predominantly women in this arena. What do I get from it? If you decide to partner with us, that's on you. It'd be a great investment for you. But if you decide to partner with us, then we make a little change. But let me tell you, in comparison to what we make in the market, it's a little change. And that's just real talk. But I love that we're able to educate folks on this platform. I love that I was able to tell my kids the other day, hey, get in on this Ethereum. And my son made several $1,000s because he listened. He joined up. He hasn't been in a train, but he was like, you know what? I'm not going to let you become a crypto millionaire without me. So, but I'll throw it back over to you, Frances, because I think it's just a powerful conversation. Let people know why everyone else is telling you to run. Our folks that love on us and that care about us and who want to see us prosper and grow financially and personally, they telling us run towards it. And even today, I told my husband, I said, man, we should have got more of this. We should have got more of that. And my husband at first was like, well, you know, I don't want to have everything. Now he's like, throw it, put it in. Because
yes,
there's not a lot of people that can say that, you know, I made somebody's salary. Some people who making 2,000, I made someone's salary for almost 6 months in less than 24 hours because of a tip that my mentor gave me. How many people can say that? And no, it's not $100,000, but I promise you this, I know a whole lot of people would have been happy to make over 10 grand in 24 hours.
Yeah, that part. And, you know, wow, that was powerful. So something I want to piggyback off of is something that you said about, you know, the stuff from LinkedIn with the US creating a coin and all this stuff. And I think this is where so much misinformation is on the internet, because if people really understand the world of cryptocurrency, there is literally only one crypto that is coded as a currency. So what if the US is creating a coin? That's the point. There's a different use for every single coin or token, right? And so when we think about stuff like that, this is where the whole misinformation part comes. Because Bitcoin, if you look at how the technology works, because crypto doesn't mean Bitcoin and Ethereum, although people want to make it a Bitcoin and Ethereum conversation, it really just means technology, cryptography. So, when we think about why is this so important, it's because we're in a digital era already. And as time and technology keeps advancing, this is just going to be a way our world works. So it's not like, oh, Bitcoin was the new thing, it's going to crash and burn, and then it's just gone. Because still, the basis of what is happening in crypto is technology. It's not just, let's just make up a coin and then it crashes and burns and the whole crypto world goes away. It's not how it works. And that was really powerful what you said, because if the US is creating a digital coin, you guys, that's a wealth indicator. That's not a run from the crypto conversation indicator. That's a wealth indicator. And, so if you're on here, I just want to encourage you, don't, run because, and a powerful leader, multimillionaire woman in this space in our academy, but she does other things, has TV shows, runs a church, all the things. She said one powerful thing that I've always held on to when I heard her speak here in Indianapolis. And she said, you guys, when everyone's going left, I go right. I'm not going with the masses, because the masses will be the same people a year from now claiming, you see what happens in the world, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. No, it's because you continued passing over opportunities repeatedly. And the conversation of crypto is coming up repeatedly. And it's not, for some people, it's the hype. But for people like me, I understand that it gives, countries like Zimbabwe, who are so hyper inflated that they can't function, an opportunity. Both my parents come from an island. So, the Dominican Republic, perfect example. The average person there is making $600 a month. I don't know who's living off of that. My toddler could live off of $600 by herself. So when we look at a real cryptocurrency conversation, it's not that, it's going to crash and burn because it dipped again. And I actually want to show a graphic and then have someone on here share a testimony. But let me make sure I have this graphic pulled up before I share my screen, because we got to understand what's really happening. And I love this because, again, this is why live mentorship matters. When, like Pam said, other people are in your corner that really want to see you win and don't necessarily look like they're going to get their gains regardless because they understand this market. But what about the new person that just came into the academy or just came into this conversation on Clubhouse, right? Because we do Queens of Crypto. I get so excited about crypto, y'all. Queens of Crypto on Wednesdays. And they just say, hey, I'm new to this, but I'm scared to follow the hype because I work hard for my money. Me too, sis. That's me. I don't want to follow the hype. I work hard for mine. So this is where you find that live mentorship to tell you, like she said, when they are going left, we going right, because we see the bigger picture. The problem with today's society is if you're in the crypto market to hit a quick lick, congratulations to you. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here so that my daughter understands the world of cryptography, tokenization, the fact that we'll probably be voting through something like the blockchain because it's transparent. And once it happens, it cannot be tampered. Right? That's what I'm here for, that bigger picture. I'm not here for the person that just wants to double up $100 in some Bitcoin. It's too volatile anyway. Good luck, right? Like you got to play the game. And so when we look at what's really happening in the world, you guys, the financial institutions are playing the game. The Goldman Sachs, the JP Morgans, your Elon Musk, he's not just going to buy 10 million more of Bitcoin because it's not going anywhere. I'm sure he could think of something else to do with that $10 million. Like go mine some more precious metals in space, like he's already doing, to bring it back. And that's why gold is going to be nothing. It already is, right? So we got to get smart and follow the greed. And people like him, I don't care how you feel about him as a person, but his greed is going to get me paid. Because when you're giving people all this hype, I'm paying attention to what's really happening. And then I'm paying attention to the article and the SEC articles that are coming out showing us that you just requested to buy some more. So you need 8 weeks. So you know what I'm going to do within those 8 weeks? I'm going to go buy some more. So let me get ahead of Elon Musk real quick. A little Puerto Rican Dominican from the Bronx getting ahead of Elon Musk to buy some Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm all up in that thing. So I want to show you this graphic that our amazing When I tell y'all queen and king of crypto, like they do this space for real because they understand the use. Because again, every token has a different use, guys. Like, yeah, one is not going to be meant for a long term, right? But when we talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum and selling that, that is madness because Bitcoin, only one, coded as a currency, and Ethereum, heavily based, really, the whole project is all about technology. And then the fact that 85% of every other crypto that's been created so far running off of Ethereum's technology, it's not just going to fall out of thin air. That's not how this works. Technology does not work like that. So let me show y'all this graphic, because I was like, whoa, drop down one more time for me so I can go back in the market. So check this out, guys. Like, I was just super grateful to get this and for them to really educate us, because you guys, again, this is not new. We anticipated this in the market. Okay. So let me know if you all can see this screen. Pam, if you're unmuted, I can't see anyone on the
We can see
Zoom anymore. Okay, perfect. So, all right, this is directly from Wall Street. Y'all know, money capital of the US, but this is really just the cycle of the market. Okay. And this can apply to pretty much anything, you guys, because the truth is, what's happening right now is the big boys in the market trying to shake out the people that are just here for the hype, that are just here for that short term. Oh, let me catch a quick 10, 20 grand in the market if I can and be done, versus the people that are truly here for the gain that they know is happening, whether it dips or not temporarily. So the stage that we're in right now, you guys, if you can see, I love the comments on this, like shit, excuse my French, but we're grown. Shit, everyone is selling. I need to get out. Now we're at the phase where people are questioning, well, who shorted the market? Why is the government allowing this to happen? Like, if you guys want to take a screenshot, I'm about to stop sharing the screen, but I want to talk about that comment because pay attention. Like, isn't that what you hear people talking about right now? What's the government doing? And Elon Musk told me to buy this. And well, can I tell you, like Pam said, every entity has an agenda. And I can guarantee you the government, Elon Musk, none of their agendas is your wealth. Okay. They're worried about theirs. Hence why he just bought 10 million more of Bitcoin. They're not concerned about your wealth. Get around some people that are concerned with your wealth. The people that want to see you 10 years from now sipping margaritas on the beach, because I'm about to live the life Pam was just living. We all going back. Okay. Like, so pay attention and stay around people who care about your wealth, because the news doesn't care about your wealth. They have one agenda always, whether it's, the vax, whatever the conversation is, they have an agenda. They have to program a certain emotion in you for them to stay in business. Hello, they're a business too. In case you guys didn't know that news channels are for profit, just like financial institutions. They're not out here playing non-for-profit, which is why a lot of credit unions are shifting their missions, because they were nonprofit. It's not really working out for them, just being honest. So we got to be for profit in our own lives, but understand and get around the people that want to explain something like market psychology to us, because 80% of everything we do in life is controlling your emotions, from parenting to the market to everything else, right? So I just wanted to share that because I'm like, man, I think, and the other part I feel like is people hear this conversation and they're like, okay, that just went over my head 35 times. Guess what? It went over mine 35 too. But I also heard that powerful woman that told me when everybody goes left, you go right, that she's never made $1 million in a perfect situation. Yeah. So I don't want to be in a perfect situation. I need to be in the situation so I can keep breaking it down, learning as I go. And I actually want to see if Mila can unmute herself and just share her testimony, because she's a nurse. Like, there's nothing in her background that really warranted her having like a super deep crypto conversation, really starting a portfolio. Because one thing I know about my nurse friends, and I'll let her speak a little bit more, but it's that they love what they do. They're called to be a nurse, right? They're called to take care of people. And, Pam just said it, like, part of our mission here, and I'll include myself in her mission, is women, y'all. 9% of us man investment portfolios. That's not enough. So we are here to raise this percentage, because I want them to see, beautiful women of color, even if you're not, but you're a woman, right? I want you to stand up and be proud to have this kind of conversation and let people know 2 years from now, I wasn't shaking in the market when they tried to shake me out because I'm a real investor. And so Mila, if you could unmute yourself and just kind of share, like, you know, where were you before this whole crypto conversation? Where are you now? And just kind of where you're going, because y'all, her portfolio is up. So I'm really excited for her.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the call. If you're new to this space, can you hear me? Okay. So my name is Mila. I've been a nurse for 6 years this year, guys. So when I tell you time flies, time flies. But this pandemic hit and I was like, I'm taking 8, 9 patients, COVID patients, not no regular patients that I'm used to taking. Something has to give. Like, I'm tired. My pay is not doubling. I said, you know what? I have to get in a different space. And when I tell you, when I got into this space, I knew nothing about crypto. Like, if you want to say the person was under a rock, I was that person. I knew nothing about Bitcoin. I never heard about it. And I said, you know what? This is it. Because I think my first investment was $50 and I watched that go to maybe $75 within a couple of days. And I was like, where do they do this at? They don't do this anywhere else. If I put $5,000 in a savings account at the end of the year, I might see $5,001, $5,002. The banks are not doing this. So we're definitely showing out in the banks. And I'm just so thankful because this is also an opportunity that my children will have to where I'm not struggling trying to figure out how I'm going to get them through school if that's an option for them. I mean, if that's what they want to do, they can have a nano ledger all filled with crypto and them babies going to be growing at exponential rates. A couple of weeks ago, my portfolio was up 100%. They don't do that anywhere. They don't do that anywhere. And I've heard some people portfolios was up 4,000%. Listen, guys, this is not like promising you profits, but it's what's possible with the education and the platform that we have. All we do is listen and apply what they give us. They give us coins before the rest of the world knows about them. So that's why I'm so grateful for this space. And thank you for letting me share on this platform.
Thank you for sharing. And I hadn't been really keeping up with my own portfolio. I just know that it's making a lot of money. But now that you mention it, it is up over 100%, probably closer to 125, maybe 150. Wow, I said that really calmly, didn't I? No, my portfolio is up 150%. Okay, so anyway, and I want to point something out to you guys, and not anything that I take lightly, but my husband is battling stage 4 cancer. And his health, while it's improving, we're still in these markets because we're planning for a future. And when people say, well, things are unknown to me, you can't predict this, you can't predict that. Well, life is unpredictable. We can all walk outside tomorrow and that be our last day. We don't know what God has planned for us. But I say all that to say that we don't live in fear. We know who has the final word. I don't know if you're religious, spiritual, whatever the case may be, but we know who has the final word. And me and my husband lived abroad on and off for 6 years, full time for 3 years. And he's already planning his condo back in Puerto Vallarta. He's like, we got to go ahead and finish with this cancer treatment so we can get back to Mexico, where we love. And so, but meanwhile, I want to piggyback off of something that Frances said, because it was super powerful, is that she didn't know, and it might be going over your head. Let me tell you, what I love about this community is you can plug in and you can know nothing, not even the verbiage. You don't have to know anything, but if you can follow directions, and they're literally broken down step by step, do this, do this, do this, end up here. That's all you need to do. And when I say financial freedom is right around the corner for some of you guys, it really is, because the more you learn, the more you'll want to learn. The more you invest, the more you'll want to invest, because I can tell you, we had a substantial savings account and it was earning nothing. When I say nothing, I couldn't even go get an order of fries with what I got off of a very large savings account in the States. And meanwhile, I just told you what happened just over the weekend. you know, it's insane what's happening. I keep using the word insanity because that's the only thing that make like, this is crazy. I cannot believe what's taking place. And I would highly encourage any of you guys who are watching this right now to get back in touch with the person who brought you here, because this is something that I'm telling people in 2 years, you're going to look back and say, wow, I wish I had did that. I knew about Bitcoin when it first came out. And every time I tell this story, it pains me, but someone told me to get in when it was pennies. I didn't listen. They told me again when it was $10, $100. I didn't listen. But early on, they told me to put $1,000 in and just let it ride. It wasn't that I didn't have the money. It was just that I didn't have the education or the information. It was when cryptocurrency first came out, it was very, very heavily saturated with men who didn't look like me. And so the trust factor wasn't there because it was just a bunch of young white guys, just being honest, a bunch of young white guys. And they didn't speak my language. I didn't understand that. For us, we were taught, get good jobs, save your money, put it in the bank, buy property, things that are stable. And so to hear someone start saying, put your money here, I was like, okay, he's trying to scam me out my money. And I didn't do it. Bitcoin has went down recently, but we would be looking at over 300 something million dollars. 300, and when it was up to its highest, it would have been 600 something million dollars from $1,000 investment. Now I kick myself for doing that, but I won't kick myself ever again because I'm all in on these markets. I'm all in on learning. I'm all in on educating myself and sharing it with as many people, because I don't know about you, but $600 million, $300 million, heck, even $1 million is life-changing to so many people. And I want you to think about the people that you love and that you know and say, listen, I can't promise you anything. I can't promise you that you're going to become wealthy. What I can promise you is I'm going to provide you with access to the training that's going to help you get there. And that's what I'm doing for everybody I love. And I want for you guys to do the same. If it's somebody you know who you love, respect, value, appreciate, invite them to join you, invite them to partner with you and to partner with our academy. Francis, if you would you explain a little bit more about our academy and how somebody can get involved?
Of course. I love that you said that, because the trust factor is a big piece, right? And something that we just try to do, I feel like it, even not just us that are on this line giving testimonials or anything like that, I feel like it's a collective as us as a community of over 300,000 people, is we try to break down this conversation so that the average person can understand it. Because you heard what Pam just said, it was the trust factor. How could I trust someone who didn't really speak it in a language that I understood? And for me, I'm a minority, right? And my parents did the best they could, but they couldn't teach me anything about money that they didn't know. And so how do we have a conversation with people like them, where now my mom's, in her late 50s asking me, hey, I see this Bitcoin thing on Cash App. Like, what does that mean? So the fact that they're even questioning that means that our community needs this conversation, but they just don't have someone that can break it down in a way that they understand it. So then when I break it down to her and I say, Mom, it's kind of like real estate, right? It's an asset that can appreciate. So, when you can't sell it, you fix the floors, you put nice things in it, and the value will tend to go up. It's like that, right? If the value goes up with a cryptocurrency, so does yours and whatever you invested. So I think just what we do best in the academy overall is really breaking the conversation down so that someone fresh off the street, doesn't matter what kind of community background, anything you come from, can really understand this conversation. But then the other piece, like Pam said, is we try to keep it simple. You guys, our crypto academy, King Cobain is all I will say when you get started. Yes, I said when, because this is a conversation that you're already curious about and you really need a trusted education, right? You'll see that Curtis Cobain has done something very unique with this space. And, I love him. And this is not, I'm not making this a race thing or anything, but I just got to speak for something that he says that I absolutely love. And he says, I'm unapologetic about my melanated family, because we are purposely sometimes left out of conversations. But the thing that I love about our academy is that we include you. We don't care what color you are, what your hair looks like, what school you went to. We take you from jail or from Yale, baby, and we're going to train you up. Okay. So that's what I love. So getting started in the academy is really simple. You say, okay, I want to elevate this, and I want a couple things. I want education, I want live mentorship, and I want a community that is unmatched. And that's what you get, right? Those are like the three core parts of what we do. We give you solid education with vetted educators. We're talking multiple 6 to 10 figure earners in their specialty, which we're talking about crypto. But we give you that, right? We're going to give you access to that elite education. We're going to give you access to the live mentorship. So like I said, Curtis Cobain has done something really unique. He even has a designated section that says, hey, if you're new, please start here. We want to show you how to protect your wealth, because this is all about ownership. Don't listen to Joe Schmo who tells you go buy something on Robinhood and then you're having a problem taking it off. That's not protecting your wealth. That's leaving your wealth at the hands of someone else. And remember, everyone has their own agenda, okay? Your agenda needs to be, how do I get into a position of ownership and really understand this space so that I'm comfortable when I say I'm pulling out of a certain project, or when I say I'm going to buy more of a certain project. That's where we want to get you, to that level of comfort and understanding, but also to protect your wealth. If the internet, this was another thing someone had asked, what if the internet crashes? Well, can we be real? If the internet crashes, so does everything else. You can't go to your bank. Those investment bankers that help you can't get in contact with you. So let's just be real, right? If the internet crashes, it's pretty much done for everything. So we got to be realistic. It's not crashing. It might go down for an hour or two and then it'll be right back up like nothing happened. But that's where we want to get you, right? So you're going to get that live mentorship to say, hey, this is how you protect. These are the emails you don't use. Because as this world evolves, so do hackers, okay? Then we're going to tell you, hey, what does putting a portfolio together look like? This is what it looks like. This is where you don't put assets on your phone, right? This is how you don't do that. This is how you actually look at the market. Because if you can pull up a chart, you guys, if we can get you to a place where you can pull up a chart and mark that thing up to understand that what's happening right now was already expected, we just taught you how to read the world's wealth. If you did it with a crypto chart, now you could do it with the US dollar chart. Now you could do it with the Canadian dollar chart, and you will always find opportunity in the market. But we already know this was expected because we were taught for what to look for and why to look for that and what it actually looks like. So that live mentorship piece. And then the unmatched community, the part that, Pam said, some days I got a toddler right here with this big afro who keeps me crazy busy. And some days I'm just not actively on a chart and looking at things, while I feel really proud because 7 months ago, I could not pull that thing up and even figure out what was happening in the market. But some days I get to be a lazy investor because I know that my wealth community has my back. In our direct group, there's over 3,000 people. And our amazing leaders are constantly saying, guys, here's the psychology chart. Don't you dare do what the masses are doing. We're here to see you grow in your wealth because we're making moves regardless. So when they say things like that and they say, hey, there's a new project that you get on live last night. If you didn't, hurry, go, right? But here's the project. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go buy some and then I'm going to go watch the video and say, oh, okay. Because, I trust their judgment. They're here for my wealth. So that's the beautiful part about all three parts, right? And that's like the easiest way I could really break down what you get when you get started. And then the other piece is we're talking about grocery money, you guys. We're talking about money that I spent for Latin night on some shoes that I was heartbroken I didn't get to wear because my birthday was March 2nd and they shut everything down. So I didn't get my money back for those shoes because I couldn't find the receipt. So that was a liability, clearly still a liability up in the closet. But this is an investment, you guys. And it's not an investment where we handle your money. No. This is an investment in your elite education, your live mentorship, and your community. Because what you're going to do with that is you're going to learn to fish. And every single penny of profit that you make is yours. We don't want to handle your investments. We have our own to handle. So when we win and we get to share that with you, you automatically win by default. Get into an environment where you're winning by default because people care about you. So when we're talking about $199, you guys, I can tell you that most of those YouTube videos you're watching, and it's no shade, you guys, I've learned really creative stuff on YouTube. Like I learned how to knit on there. I learned how to put together these cute little crafts. But the one thing I don't want to leave to a YouTuber is my wealth. 2 reasons. They get paid per click and their video's outdated. The way they're saying the crypto market is moving at the time that video was made is not what it's doing today. How many of y'all know that Bitcoin price today is not what it was 3 years ago? If it was, we'd all be riding off on camels at somebody's beach, okay? So we got to understand, we got to get wise about who we go to for counsel. Because the truth is, you know, and I always say, like, riddle me that. If they really had your best interests at heart, when you get to the end of the conversation, they wouldn't be charging you $8,000 to register with their course and figure out how to read the markets. Robert Kiyosaki, he charges 40 something grand for people to learn how to operate in the largest markets of the world. So when we're talking about $199, it just made sense for me. I could go out to eat and eat that food because y'all Morton's closed, but ooh-wee, those all ground potatoes and that cream spinach. I was on that treadmill today, like, sis, no, the water, the salads. But I could spend $199 on anything. And to me, this was an investment. And we're talking about $199 to learn how to operate in a world that I don't care what nobody's telling you is not going anywhere. So you just gotta make a decision. Do I want to invest the $199? And am I really coming here to create some wealth? And if the answer is yes and yes, then you belong here. And if the answer is no, or maybe you are really in a position, I have to be really honest, if we're adults and we have $199 $99 problem, you need this space more than you ever thought you did. Why? Because I don't know if you heard some of the stories you just heard, but we're talking about cryptos that are giving 100% returns. Even a 10% return could easily turn around and give you back the money you invested in your academy. So we got to get really smart about what we're doing with money, because the truth is that Gucci bag, those Louis Vuittons, whatever they're called, I don't even own a pair because look, I'm trying to put that into some more crypto, but to each their own choice. Those things, when it's all said and done, if stuff hit the fan, that's not going to give you a heavy return. It already depreciated the moment you put it on your shoulder. So we got to get really smart about what we're doing with our money. And obviously you're smart because you're here and you're curious about this conversation. And if your thing is, I really just am not in a position to get started today, keep coming back, because the more you stay around this conversation, the more it will make sense. Because all of us that were on this line didn't really even understand how to articulate it, but we understood that there are indicators all around us. And for the people that want to lie to you and tell you, crypto's going to crash and burn, sell everything. There's a reason why you can pay at Home Depot with cryptocurrency. There's a reason why every day I look at some financial institution articles. I'm really big on watching what vendors are doing, right? Because the world of merchant services, right? Vendors that people use to process payments, right? So when you go in, you know, let's say to Home Depot, whatever system they use when you go to check out, that's a merchant service that's tied to that. So coming from financial services, I like to pay attention to what are those people doing too, because the truth is, if they're adapting new methods of payment, they're not going anywhere. No one's going to sign a huge contract anticipating that it's going to go into thin air and never come back. So when you see bigger merchant services and new vendors popping up like, hey, we accept, you know, Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever, you know, the crypto is, which really you mainly only see Bitcoin because that's the one coded as a currency. You start to wonder, well, wait, if people are saying this is where they go right, you go left, they go left, you go right. If people are saying one thing, but I'm seeing some of the biggest, you know, corporations that are being smart and buying Bitcoin to save their balance sheets, right? Tip number one. Here's another selfless plug. If you look at who they're bringing on for their merchant services and they're accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment, baby, I might not understand this conversation, but I can tell that means something's not going anywhere anytime soon. And like Pam said, we don't live in fear. Don't put your rent money in the market, okay? But be smart about what you're doing, because the truth, like she said, is I could leave 10 grand in the best money market account and I won't even come back to $100. So we gotta really get wise in this space. So I'll hop off my soapbox. Hopefully I clarified what it looks like to get started. You guys, you get the 3 core pieces for $199. You can't beat that. We constantly have promotions, but honestly, you don't need a promotion from $199 because normally it's $235 to get started. So we're already doing $35 off. To me, I count that as put $35 in the market and watch it work while you're learning. And you'll see why that promo wasn't even necessary. Can somebody say some chain link or some polka dot or some Cardano, you'll see your little $35 do some boom, boom moves. And then you're going to be like, Pam, when is the next coffee and crypto, girl?
I've been having that conversation with everybody, and you touched on something that is a little sensitive for people, but I say it from a loving space, just like you. If you're not in a position to invest $200 to elevate your education, to elevate the people that you're around, to help you educate your kids, your loved ones, and people for generations to come, then you really got some other issues that you need to address that put you in a better situation. If it's not this, then do something else. I say that all the time, and people think it's mean, and it's not being mean, but if you can't afford $200, you're in a bad space. And especially, I'm talking to us grown women. Let's have grown women talk. I know people, I know a person actually who told me they didn't have money to join, but then went out and paid a whole bunch for some hair and some braids. Listen, it all comes down to priorities. When we moved to Mexico full time, we had a beautiful home with a theater in it. I mean, we had a home, beautifully furnished, with interior designer, whole bunch of money spent. Let me just put it that way. And we walked away from it. And one of the biggest things I learned when we walked away from that home and we sold everything that we had in it, including 3 luxury vehicles, and moved to Mexico, where for 3 years we didn't even have a car and we depended on Uber, is that there are things, and nothing replaces experiences. Nothing replaces time with the people that you love. They're just things. And I would gladly walk away from those things again to be able to enjoy those experiences with my well husband. So I say all that to say is, if you don't have the money, I would strongly recommend you get the money. Back in the day, I was a little brutal. I would tell people to go and donate plasma. I would tell people to go pawn their stuff, because the reality is that the position that you're in now, if it's difficult for you to make a $200 decision, you can't have $1 million conversations with me. You can't have $1 million conversations with Francis. It's going to go so far over your head. But what you can do is put yourself in a community of people who are going to pull you up to that level you want to be at, so that you can say, you know what, this makes sense. Let me put off doing this. That's not important. That's not helping my child. Let me put off doing that, because having that brand new car that's going to run me $900 a month ain't taking me to no place but a job that I hate anyway. So it just elevates the conversations when you really start getting around people who are more like you, who think like you, or who think and live the way you want to live. I never take advice from somebody who's not living the lifestyle that I want, or who are not achieving the things that I want with my life. So I say all that to say, don't let this be a fearful conversation for you. If you can't afford it now, I want you to think about the ways that you can afford it, and get yourself involved in a community of people who are doing things that just challenge you. You know, I am challenged. My husband was challenged when we started buying all this cryptocurrency, because it was foreign to him, and he's old school. He didn't know anything about that. He barely even uses a computer, but he understood it enough to say, this is going to elevate us financially. So we could go on and on, but we'll save the conversation for Thursday. Join us again on Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for another Coffee and Crypto. Tomorrow night, we have Crypto and Cocktails at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And then during the week, we have a multitude of events going on. If you want to see the education and the platform in motion, please contact whoever put you on and let them schedule you for one of our presentations. But this is more of a listen, we're just going to drink coffee, or in my case, I'm drinking green juice because the girl got goals. I put in a coffee mug today, but I'm drinking green juice. But this is a very informal setting so that you guys can have questions, answers, and then also so that we could talk a little bit more freely outside of the platform and the education that you're going to get. Francis, thank you as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up, for being such a great mentor, for being a loving sister and a great friend. I appreciate you so much. And I appreciate all of the ladies who have joined us.
Yes, thank you, Pam. Ladies, bring a friend back, whether it's, cocktails and crypto or coffee and crypto again on Thursday. Because really, we just have one main mission. We got to raise this percentage, because I want to see a lot of y'all on beaches. Because if we teach, we could go to the beach. Okay. So thank you, ladies. Thank you, Pam. Your story inspires me. The world will hear it one day. And I'm just really excited to be here. So thank you, ladies. Come back, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow night. Bye. Thank you.